Hello and welcome to Garblag Games, where tonight we're back at it with the One Ring on Thursdays and part 4 of the Ballad of Bardings. Whilst Pete looks on with his flaming eye and whips us if we do anything wrong. But I will let my players introduce themselves and what tortures they undergo under Pete's Dark Lord powers. Starting with Roger. We're going to go the other way around this week.
Hi, I'm Roger, and I'm playing Robin Burrows, the Hobbit of the Shire treasure hunter. And under Pete's dark rule, he's put in the mod that always makes me roll badly.
Yeah. I feel like
Particularly yesterday.
For all of us, including me, so don't worry. Next up is Ben.
Hello, I'm Ben. I'll be playing Sigrid, daughter of Sigrid. And this is exciting because this is the first time we've been anywhere near any other Bardings because they live a really long way away. And I should have considered that before playing one. But it's all come home to roost now. Under the purview of Pete's Dark Lord powers, I suffer not at all because 'twas me that poked him in the eye and gave him that big flaming eye.
Ah, there you go. So, really, we can blame you for everything.
Hey, why chase the habit of a lifetime?
Would you happen to know that if we throw one of his precious items into a big flaming volcano, he's destroyed, or is it not
So,
work like
yeah.
that?
No, I think it does work like that with Pete. Yeah, as long as that precious item is his head.
Yeah, that works for many people.
Getting a bit worried because I bribed Non-Anomaly on Tuesday with like 50,000 groats and hasn't showed up yet in the viewer list. So,
Oh, well.
don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
She was there to help us
Non-anomalies.
yesterday.
I was going to say,
Go
we
on.
were getting out groats yesterday with rerolls. And we needed
she
them.
was interfering in my game.
Pretty sure Non-Anomaly's just gone on holiday with all those groats. It's got
I
to be
actually
some
think-
country that takes them.
She probably saved the session last night.
Ah, well, there you go. Next up is a Dan. Pick a Dan. Any Dan. And then I'll
I
shuffle
choose the
them back into
newly
deck.
shaven Dan.
Hi, I'm Gru. Dan. I play. Who do I play again? Isildur.
Isildur.
That's the one. Isildur, elf captain of Rivendell.
Wasn't Grudan one of the bad guys from
Grudan.
Godzilla?
Grudad. That sounds cool. Maybe. Maybe. And I think there will always be a Dark Lord, even if you get rid of Pete. One will just replace him.
Are you up for the position, or is it just,
Absolutely not.
losing?
No, it's amusing. I think he lives forever. He'll live forever.
Finally,
Pete can never die, only the actor who plays him.
finally, Dark Lord in the making. Second Dan. Double Dan? I don't
know. Calling him second Dan kind of rates him quite highly in the martial arts stakes, doesn't it?
Hi everyone, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Astanon, the Ranger of the North, Warden, General, guy who likes to hit things with swords and be miserable, but not as miserable as our elf friend.
Because you don't get tired like he does.
Why I don't get
He's
tired?
knackered. He's got to
Yes.
carry around all that heavy
know.
stuff.
He's like
Like
a
for that, he's hopeless as well.
I'm feeling hopeless. I'm sad.
and
I'm
me and
literally
Dan,
an emo elf.
Me and Dan flipped a coin to see which one of us got to keep our beard, and I got to keep my beard. He
Yes.
got his beard. And under the purview of our Dark Lord, I willingly serve our Dark Lord Pete, and believe he is a wonderful, wonderful human being.
Oh, the naivety.
He knows which side his breath is buttered.
We'll call you Dazog then, should we?
Absolutely.
And the flaming eye turns away from us again for one more day, so we could live in mild fear. Yeah.
I don't believe that's true because aren't we up to something like 12 or 13 eye points now?
Yeah, but what could go wrong? You're in Dale now. Everything's fine there.
Oh, yeah.
Got there just in time for a funeral. So, last time you finished your travels to Dale and arrived as the funeral procession of Bane was travelling to its final resting place. Grey, roiling clouds draw close and hang above the funeral procession. Soft rain patters down upon flower-filled field, glinting helm and thick woolen cloaks alike, as Bane, son of Bard, is laid to rest by his father's side. Few of the royal house of Bard, besides the newly crowned Bara, are in attendance. High clear laments and low sorrowful dirges fill the valley and fields where the cairn of King Bard and now King Bane lay. Domar, who is Bara and formerly Bane's chief advisor, offers words of remembrance and praise with tears in his eyes. And the words of Bara, Bane's youngest son, outmatch all others spoken for their eloquence, but feel rigid and colder. Throughout there is a steel in his eyes, masking his sorrow, and beneath it some hidden worry. Long after all words and song die away, the bells of Dale continue to toll for their old king, now lain to rest. Now, I'm going to let you tell me about the history of Bane, because I'm lazy. So, what we're going to do is you can roll something like lore or riddle, each of you, and if you get a success, you can tell me something positive that Bane did during his reign, and if you get a failure, you can tell me something negative, and I'm going to use them for something later.
I mean,
Who
I neither
wants to
have
go
riddle or
first?
law.
That doesn't matter.
Oh, come on.
Well, Robin Burrows, what great and massively fantastic, seemingly, deed did Bane achieve in his time as king?
Well, he liked not having just one heir, but he liked having two, and he thought that was a good general rule to have two heirs.
Well, there's definitely one of them now at the moment. So there you go.
And yeah, he was very nice to both his heirs. He was a very kind king to them. That's the nice thing he did. He wasn't a
Kind
real
father.
git like some steward of Gondor. He was a very nice
Yeah.
king.
Okay. So, no sending them on ill-fated defences of river crossings.
No,
No.
they had nieces for that.
They're expendable. And have magical bows. Yeah. Who wants to go next? So there you go. Bane was a good father and looked after both of his sons.
Well, I definitely failed,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say that Bane.
What ill-fortunate thing happened in Bane's rule?
I don't know. Astronaut doesn't know. He knows.
Maybe
He's never
means-
met Bane.
it means
Not
you
even
These
make
are
one
all
up.
things you're hearing about during the funeral, so you can make anything up.
Apparently, he wet his pants when Smaug attacks the city.
That's
Well-
not necessarily a negative. In fairness,
To be fair, he was very young,
Very
and
sensible.
you know,
Yeah, but apparently, it was in the moment where his dad used him as a bow.
yeah. Well, that's
Okay.
fair then. Yeah.
That's
the
not
rumor
fair.
persists that Baden's courage in that moment wasn't all it was for.
A day may come when the courage of Bane fails, and it was that day.
Yeah.
At least that's what Asmon's heard
Yeah.
on the grapevine.
Who's up next?
I am not going to riddle or lore. I am going to insight instead. Because I am going to look for a thing that would reveal the hand of whoever is manipulating events here.
Ooh.
So the thing I bring up is going to be related to the way in which Bane drove out the greedy and intolerant that had dogged their footsteps from Lake Town and see who shifts uncomfortably.
Well, as you're discussing this with the funeral procession, can you... Let's see. Can you... Can you try an extra insight, and we'll see how many successes you get.
Do that.
Also, I do like Ithildir the Mournful.
And I think on that, I am going to spend a point of hope. Because I'm way suspicious. Boom. Great success. What you bastards.
So, you see a lot of people shifting a bit, mostly around Bara, who is wearing Bane's crown upon his head, and next to him is Halfgrim, the captain of the Guard of Dale, and Domar, of course, his chief advisor, and then a few other people that you don't necessarily know, who are either members of the household guard or other minor lords or ladies in Dale as it is today. But the whole group seems to shift somewhat uncomfortably as they overhear you talking to various people you know from your life in Dale and growing up there, about Bane's deeds in getting rid of the people who had sought to undermine the new Dale with the greed that came out of Lake Town.
Well, that's a bit worrying. They're all a bit shifty.
You have one success that you can spend as well.
I will spend that on some more information, I think.
More information. What kind of information do you want, other than who exactly is doing this all?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a bit too
uncover.
much information. More information. I would like to see who feels emboldened by those words. You know, who's like, yeah, you know what, he did do that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe we should do that as well by telling this cool princess loads of information about those guys over there.
Yeah. There's a couple of more towards the back as well of the royal part of the funeral procession, because this procession is quite long, with everyone who they could possibly gather. A lot of the people of Dale have come out as well, but more towards the back of sort of the royal part of it are a few people you know from Dale in the past, that are sort of not necessarily part of the higher strata, but are important in the trade that goes on between Dale and Erebor, and therefore have a certain status within the city. Two of those, Erland and Sigga, appeared to be nodding in agreement with what you're saying, and talking about those days when they drove out some of the more greedy elements and sent them packing down the river running, never to be seen again.
Dan,
Yeah, that leaves us
Is it me
with
now?
Ithildir.
yeah.
What do your elven ears hear? I don't know if that's
think I'm going to go for a law roll.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was good at law. Well, I'm alright. Am I still weary?
As far as I know, you shouldn't be weary anymore.
Okay.
don't
Am
think
I
you have
miserable?
any-
Always.
How's your hope versus? Let's have a look.
Don't think so, because I think we spent fellowship points.
I thought
You
that was-
have at the moment 6 of your 8 hope and 4 shadow, so you should not be. You should definitely not be. Oh, your wound is gone as well. That was your arm wound that healed you up. You're definitely not miserable. And you have.
There we
Yes,
go.
but I meant my character.
Yeah, you are weary.
We've recharged
Oh, I
the
am
well.
weary.
5 fatigue, but
Yeah,
you can
so
get rid
weary
of that
but
because
not
you
miserable.
finished travelling because you stayed a day in Lake Town to recover.
Okay, so the weary's gone. I'm
Yeah.
confused. Okay, right, brilliant.
So, you know, doing all right.
Hey,
What do you hear?
Isildur hears a tale of how the king cleared out the lower end of Lake Town and began reconstruction works. To his people, he was the consensus builder and built great works for the populace and buildings for the people, including, well, it's a lake. I was going to say public sewage system, but that's probably unlikely. But he also extended
Just
Lake Town
like
as well.
a little hole in the bottom of your house.
Yeah.
That you chuck it in.
So he repaired and reconstructed Lake Town with a effort towards public works and also extended it
Yeah.
and made it bigger through trade and commerce.
Definitely. And Lake Town to this day is sort of maybe not completely thriving again, but definitely a important town / city, only dwarfed by Dale itself in importance within the Bardings realm. And in fact, Esgaroth is also where some of the members of the royal family go to for, little holidays to recuperate or something if they're ill. And so it is closely intertwined with Dale. After the funeral has finished, everyone starts the slow walk back to Dale, and Domar approaches your group. And obviously spots Sigrun first, who he has known probably all her life. Says, "Well, I'm glad to at least see one of you here. These are unfortunate days indeed, but it definitely brightens my heart to see you."
I am curious as to why Cousin Brand isn't here. I heard he went out on a war party to deal with some miscreants, but has he not made it back?
Domar shifts uncomfortably in his big woolen cloak, and he says, "Well, maybe that's not something we should discuss out here.
Very well.
Bara is calling a council soon, tomorrow morning, after we've had a chance to grieve for a day. We'll discuss such things then. Perhaps it would be prudent if you were there as well.
Of
Few
course.
enough for his allies at the moment, unfortunately.
Why is that?
Well,
Again, something
I
not to talk about
suppose-
out here, I imagine.
suppose you'll find out tomorrow. That's all I'll say on the matter.
No doubt. Very well. May I see Bara this evening?
I'll ask him if he's willing to see you, but Bara is headstrong, and he's not always the easiest to talk to of late.
Very well. Sometimes family can get through where others can't.
I hope so.
And my mother,
Don't
is she
want
still
him
around?
Gallivanting. As far as I know, many of the family are in Lake Town.
I should have stayed longer in Lake Town to see if I could catch up with her there. I'll see her on the way back, no doubt.
Well, I have to be getting back to the king. Who are your companions? Are they staying with us in Dale, or?
If you'd be so kind as to make room for them, yes. My companions have been the only reason I've been able to make it this far during this time of year. Each is an important figure in their own right, and they bring the wisdom of the West with them.
Well, that could be of some use to us at the moment. We'll speak again soon. I'll ask Bara if he's willing to see you briefly this evening, but I'll have my my servant Farrell see to rooms and lodgings for all of you.
Wonderful. I appreciate it. Thank you. I know this is a difficult time for all.
That it is. And Doma kind of starts strolling back towards Bara, looking rather downcast. The weather itself is equally downcast and remains so as you reach Dale. Those thick grey clouds seem to be hanging lower now and almost falling into a mist around the valley and Dale itself. You can just about make out Erebor in the distance, even though that distance isn't too great.
Ego Master Burrows, behold the Dragon Mountain Erebor, the city of the dwarves. I believe one of your own kinsfolk ventured out that way last.
Yeah, we've all heard Mr. Bilbo's tales.
Probably only the second of your kind to see it.
Didn't even realise it was real.
Glad it is. Now you'll have something to share with the old fella when you get back.
Wonder what kind of potatoes they have round here.
Small ones, but hardy.
Well, depends how they taste, doesn't it?
A lot more sort of swede and parsnip around here.
Doesn't make as good as chips.
Doesn't, no.
No, but it makes a fine stew.
In Dale itself, you're all provided with lodgings near to where the royal suites are as well, so near to Bara, in sort of the same wing of the city. A building over, pretty much. And food is provided for you, baths are drawn up, But other than that, you don't seem to really see or speak with anyone immediately who isn't a servant or a guard. And most of the city that you walked through seemed to be fairly quiet, and there was a sort of hushed sense of not quite dread, but looming disquiet about the place.
Friends, you will need to keep your wits about you for the next few days. I have serious concerns. This is not the Dale of my youth.
Yes, I must admit, the city seems very subdued from the tales I've heard.
It's been a cold welcome.
Did think it might be a bit more lively.
It seems a great many of our people find themselves currently in Lake Town, which is odd.
Is it odd, or are they away from the political intrigue?
Well, that seems to be quite the observation.
I thought the whole point of getting Dale back was so you could leave Lake Town in the first place.
And you'd be quite right about that.
Economics, Master Burrows.
Has anybody seen many dwarven traders around here?
There were few that you saw passing through. You went through the market to get to the royal palace, as it were.
Less than I'd expect.
And the market was pretty quiet as well, perhaps in mourning for Bane. But there weren't even any dwarves amongst the funeral procession, which you would assume they'd have sent an envoy of some kind.
Indeed, that's quite rude.
Yes, I
Unless
would
they
have
weren't
expected,
invited.
I would have expected Dane Ironfoot to send someone, if not his own kin.
Indeed. Strange things are afoot in the city of Dale. I like it not.
And no one comes for you.
Let us all sit
the
in corners
early
in the
evening.
dark.
Smoking pipes with hoods on, right?
Possibly in a room over the way from your lodgings. No one comes for you in the early evening to potentially see Bara. Nor do you even get any word that he won't see you this evening. The most you get is a note with dinner that is served in your rooms from Doma that mentions that the council will be drawn up around 10 o'clock-ish tomorrow in Bara's own chambers, and he requests your presence there as well.
Synchronous as usual.
Not even a little bit. A council such as this should take place in a larger space to
So
facilitate
soon
more
after the king's
attendees.
funeral?
And so soon after the funeral. But Imbara is the second heir, not the first.
So, making a play for the throne?
Well, not really making a play if he's already wearing the crown.
Perhaps there's a trap.
Perhaps so. I wonder, Master Burrows, could you accompany me to the council?
I can.
You're
I've
an
never been
observant
to
fellow.
something like that before, but okay.
And your people are easily overlooked.
Well,
If I turn up with
because
an
they're looking
armed
up here,
elf and
isn't
a
it?
warden of the north, they're probably going to raise some suspicions. But if I show up with one of the little folk who's a more merry companion, they're likely to ignore you.
Indeed, but I would feel better if we were perhaps close within the vicinity when the meeting takes place.
And I would be grateful for it, since I will need to be unarmed and unarmored. And I'd rather not leave Iwenarach, just unsupervised.
In general, whilst you're in the Royal Palace area, you will all be expected to at least be unarmoured, if not completely unarmed.
Yeah, Aston won't be doing that.
They're not. There's certain weapons I'm definitely not getting rid of.
What? That you mean a certain weapon you're currently not in possession of?
I think, in
Oh,
fairness,
yeah.
all of us have got the mingiest of weapons imaginable that we don't want people pinching off us.
I've just got a longsword. I've not got anything fancy.
How cruel would that be if I just like, oh, while you're away, someone's come and stolen all your magical weapons?
I don't
Perhaps
have any, so I'm
Aston,
all right.
you might
The
venture out
potato
into the city.
the potato locator's disappeared.
Hey, a ring's not a weapon.
So if Astanon perhaps heads out into the city, and Ithildir is willing to stay nearby, just in case, you Rangers are good at picking up word on the street and rumours here and there, aren't you?
Yes, and I can move unseen if I want to.
And you disappear entirely.
No.
You don't think that trick would work on him twice? That Bilbo fella had one of those magic rings.
Oh, they get around.
Does everyone in the Shire have one?
There's so many of them. Oh,
I just think it seems that
what
we
was
hobbits
it?
are
40
destined
rings
to find
for
them.
the Hobbit folk.
It was 60.
Yeah.
9 for men, 7 for dwarves, 3 for elves, but 60 for the hobbits because he really liked them.
Yeah. Do you want to do anything this evening?
Have a bath, wash my hair, proper shampooing as well, you know. Take all the plaits out, comb everything out. That takes a long time.
I want to go to a tavern. I want to basically see if I can just listen in, see if what people are talking about, and if I can piece together what's happening in the city, because everyone's saying it's a bit unusual.
Yeah. Aston
My-
will do something
Again,
similar. He's
people
been
will
looking
ignore
for
me
dwarves.
while they're talking, so
Isildir is feeling rather restless and broody. So,
Really wants to serve for some reason.
yeah, so he's going to, look off into the setting sun
Oh,
and watch the moon rise.
it's pretty misty and dark.
I'm kind of
outside.
hoping someone wants to come and,
But
ambush him.
You
Perhaps
can
maybe too much.
just see a few cold, pale, distant sparkles of light in the sky, and you look at them and feel mournful for a while. But no blade finds you in the dark.
or does it?
In fact, few enough people are passing by at all. And Robin Burrows, you find the same when you go to the tavern. It's not entirely that late that you would expect to find it completely empty, but aside from a few well-liked frequent frequenters of said tavern, you find it almost completely devoid of anyone.
At the working men's club, they're just in there knocking back pints and looking miserably at each other.
But there's only about 3 or 4 people in there.
I'll linger around a little while. I'll see if I can
And a barkeep, obviously.
surreptitiously listen into any conversation.
Yeah, sure. In that case, can you give me an awareness roll? See how, or a sneaking roll of some kind if you're sneakily trying to do so.
Yeah, I'd probably be trying to not be too obvious. Success.
So you overhear some of the patrons talking amongst themselves between a fair few mugs of ale, and the bit you overhear is, well, no, you see, my uncle, he works as a guardsman in the tower, you see, and he has it on good information that it was Bard what did Bane in, and that's why he's fled out of the city.
Okay, but
And
again,
the rest sort of go, you're being ridiculous. And yeah,
I'll linger around a little bit longer. Finish my
Yeah.
drink up, and then kind of wander back and report
Brand,
to
should I say? Sorry, not Bard.
and report
Bard
to
is both the previous king and Brand's son, so
I'll go and basically tell the others that's explain that the tavern was dead, and that's what little I overheard.
Okay.
And I'll have a good meal and a good sleep.
It's definitely a good meal. Like, they've delivered it straight to your lodgings, but they haven't skimped on the food. It's the kind of feasts that Sigrun, to be honest, you would be expecting they would hold for you and your companions upon your return, but probably in the feast hall and not just in your room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there for you lot. Was Astanon going to do anything?
Yes, he was also going out into the town, but he was looking for dwarves.
Remember to look down.
With the layer of mist, you can't find that. Damn it. No, you don't really spot any in the town immediately. There might be a few staying somewhere in one of the taverns, but most of the marketplace is emptied out completely by now. All of the stalls are shut, the shops have closed, and yeah.
What's the
not-
run like from here to Erebor?
You could be there.
There and back again. A poser's tale.
I mean, you could get there pretty quickly. By pretty quickly, I mean you could get there like before morning, but you might not get back in time for the council.
Yeah.
Especially not if you stop off to have a little chat.
Okay, well he's not going to run off right now. No, it was just trying to see if he could gain some sort of word on as to why the dwarfs weren't present at the funeral procession, and to deal with some other unsavory business that he's dealing with at the moment.
You can give me a perception, awareness roll or some similar roll,
Cool, I'll
and
give you
try
a-
and find some single lone dwarves.
I have successfully had an awareness roll.
There you go.
You are successfully aware.
You are aware of the lack of dwarves. No,
I'm probably
it
like
takes
venturing
you-
near taverns, listening
Yeah.
for that rambunctious, drinking, because that's what
It
dwarfs are like.
takes you a few hours, in fact, of stomping about, covering every tavern in Dale you can find, until you spot one dwarf sitting at a table, and you're almost going to walk past because you were listening out for
He was a really tall dwarf.
dwarves being dwarves, with each other, but it's a single lone dwarf sitting at the edge of an empty tavern, whilst the barkeep is sort of cleaning up all the glasses and occasionally looking over, going, "When's he gonna go to bed? Because I'd like to shut up."
Fortunately for him, I'm going to purchase 2 beers,
Yeah.
one for me and one for the dwarf. And I'm going to go sit down.
Gives
next to
you
the
a
dwarf.
scowl as you do so, but replies friendlily, "Sure, coming right up, sir," and hands you 2 big mugs of ale.
And I sit down under the dwarf and, "Ho there, friend," and drop the 2 mugs both in front of him.
Well, now, that's quite the greeting you've got there. He looks at you and he goes, "Well, I don't know you menfolk that well, but I dare say you're a fair ways from where you usually hang out."
You would be correct in that assessment. I am Astanon. I'm a ranger of the north, and by the north I mean on the other side of the mountains. I seek some guidance from you, if I may.
Well, let it never be said that Nar, trader of Erebor, is not willing to provide guidance to the lost. And then he downs one of the mugs in one go and kind of looks at you.
And as he does, Astanon holds up a finger to the barkeep to order another one, because figures this might be a slightly longer conversation. So the first thing that Astanon's sort of trying to gain from him is friendly chit chat, just working the conversation, but then starts to sort of steer it in
Almost
a direction.
Immediately goes, "Damn quiet here, isn't it? Damn quiet indeed."
Indeed, I was expecting more from the city, even though it's morning. I was expecting more from it, and it's very subdued.
That's the tricky thing. I mean, we only heard of Bane's death not 2 days ago.
Really, you only heard of the death of Bane in Erebor 2 days ago?
And then today I see him marching out with a funeral procession.
No invite was extended to your lord?
If any was, it won't have. He won't have had much time to prepare, will he?
Oh. Surely you won't take that lightly.
Well,
if I remember well,
the Lord of Erebor.
If I remember well, Lord Danine puts a penchant for being grumpy. Then certainly he will be not taking that too well. Oh, that's interesting. I would have thought that invite would have been definitely extended. And of course, the city misses out on fine company, drinking company.
That it does. I mean, who else is going to drink their taverns dry?
Exactly.
It's not like the rest of these Bardings can hold their beer.
I don't think there is anyone who can match the dwarfs for holding their ale.
Ah. Right, you
Astanon
are.
signals for another one coming over. Yeah, as he starts down, Astanon signals for another one. And
rubbing the ale out of his beard, there goes. "So, what do you take of the lack of dwarven folk hereabouts?"
I was very surprised to find so little of your folk in the city.
As was I. I was on my way from the Iron Hills and travelling back to the city, well, through the city to Erebor. And I thought I could unload the last of me cart here, pick up some supplies to take back, food and things, the stuff that Dale usually sells us. But there's a mighty mood over this city at the moment.
You can feel it in every corner of the city.
Yeah.
And I do
Feel
have
it
one
in my beard, I reckon. And then he goes,
fine, glorious beard it is, and he signals for another ale. And then he says, "And also, my friend, I have a task, if I may ask of you." And he slides a note across the table.
Oh.
He's like, "I need to get into contact with a master smith in Erebor. I have an ancient..."
Master Smith, you say?
Yes, I have in my possession. I have an ancient elven blade of darkness that needs destroying, and I hear the dwarven smiths of Erebor are the finest in all of the Middle Earth.
Well, that's quite something else. Come here, buy me a few rounds, and then get me wrapped up in some elven stuff. Oh.
Don't tell me that as a dwarf you wouldn't take a fine opportunity to smash something elven.
Perhaps, but it depends what it is. I don't like the sound of this blade of darkness.
Nor do I, which is why I've taken it from the possession of elves. It makes them do unusual things.
Smile.
Are you sure
such
it's
like.
the blade making the elves do unusual things? They like to do that of their own accord most of the time.
No truer statement has been said, friend. But in this case, this makes them act more unusual than usual. If that sentence even makes sense.
He puts his hand down on the mug of beer, lifts it up and goes, I suppose I can see what I can do.
I appreciate
know someone. How long do you intend to stay in Dale for?
That is a very good question. I'm here with one of the royal. I think she's a princess of Dale. She's certainly royal anyway, because we're staying in the palace. It's not my cup of tea. I'd rather be under the stars personally. But we should intend to be here for at least a few days, but it could be more.
Well, I'll leave a message here with the barkeep if I find anyone. Not sure us dwarves will be too welcome at the palace at the moment, it seems.
Yes, I appreciate that, and I appreciate your help. I shall look for your missive.
Good.
And he and Astanon orders him another ale, and says, "Well, my friend, you have been fine company this evening, but I'm afraid I must make my leave, as there is a council in the morning that I am to be nearby."
Well, aren't you quite the important fellow?
Absolutely
Thank you
not.
for the
I
drinks.
detest politics.
And I'll see what I could be about for you. And as you leave, he starts swigging back the next beers and then bursts out in a deep, sonorous song. And the barkeep just gives you a glare.
He probably gives me a glare until I throw him one piece of treasure, which should cover the costs of ale and the fact that he's got to stay
His
there.
glare soon changes to look
gonna
of
say,
surprise.
You've just thrown him a huge amount of wealth.
Yeah.
Astanon doesn't understand wealth in truth, and we got all that wealth earlier on, so...
Really need to stop giving it to Aston.
Yeah.
I'm this close to the next wealth level up.
There's an entire Barding village that is going to have like the most impressive infrastructure that you've ever seen.
I did give them a lot of treasure. Yeah.
Also, if you give away too much treasure, your lifestyle sinks.
I mean,
His
my lifestyle
cannot sink.
Yeah, I can't go
Okay.
any lower. I've got the lowest lifestyle possible. I'm a ranger of the north. We live by eating rabbits and living under trees a lot of the time, it seems. So yes, I've got. Is it frugal? Is the lowest one? Is that the one? So
Yeah, that's pretty low.
yeah. Standard of living is frugal. So I'm pretty okay with giving away treasure. Yeah. Anyway, so
Doesn't
yeah,
even have a horse.
no, doesn't. He's been chasing after you lot on horses. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, with that, with the tossing of the treasure, he's going to make his way back to the.
Okay.
And he's going to go visit Sigrun
Yeah.
and sort of inform her of sort of all the information he's just got, and like obviously relay to her the fact that the dwarfs don't appear to have had an invite, or at least on the face value of things, they only found out 2 days ago that the king was dead.
Of insult to the dwarfs' feather. This is
I must admit
mighty
that's
strange.
wouldn't be something I would do with Dane Ironfoot.
No. Yes, unfortunately, you find the horrendously changed Sigrun in that she's had a bath and washed her hair and put on a frock and
I imagine Aslan walked in and went, "Oh, my apologies, lady. I'm looking for Sigrid."
Damn, I'm in the wrong lodgings.
But yeah, so Aslan kind of gives all that information over to Sigrun because it feels like it's mildly important for tomorrow because it
Yeah,
seems
and
to all be moving fairly quickly, and certain dignitaries weren't invited, so or at least it doesn't appear that they were.
Absolute madness.
There you go. And with that, the night passes by, and as morning comes, it doesn't quite break into daylight, as there appears to be a sort of slow pea soupish mist hanging across the entirety of Dale.
Do we lose any fatigue for sleeping
Yeah, you
somewhere safe?
can lose all your fatigue.
woohoo.
We'll say you've rested
Woohoo!
today in Esgaroth, and you rested now for a night in nice soft beds in Dale.
I'm actually gonna
Astronom
give-
picks
I'm gonna-
up 5 fatigue.
I was gonna say,
From
Aslan, I'm actually
sleeping
gonna
in
give
a bed,
myself. I'm
just
actually
like,
gonna give. Yeah, I'm gonna give myself
no.
I'm gonna give myself a fatigue just for sleeping in a soft
You can
bed.
sleep on the floor.
That's probably where anyone would have found him if they came in.
And as you awaken, you find breakfast has already been laid out for you. In this sort of, you've got a central area, and then your rooms off to the sides.
Sweet.
And the table had been cleared from last night's feast, and breakfast has been served. The fire's already going. It's
Anything
taken
that
the
would
chill off of the room.
anything that would last has definitely been pocketed by the Hobbit. Save that for later.
It's just got like a big pile of food already stashed in your room.
Not just for me, but replenishing
What do you mean?
stocks.
There's nothing under my bed, and the bed's like at a slant.
Why does it smell like sausages in here?
I mean, it's Robin's room. It probably smells like sausage and chips wherever he is.
Thildir, you wake up feeling kind of cold and hollow. And if you weren't an
Much
elf,
like any other day.
your palm would almost be itchy.
It's been days since he's tried to murder kin.
There's no kin about to murder.
Withdrawal.
But
I'll have
since
to
parting
satisfy it with some
some-
food and drink.
You can do that. There's few things there that that an elf of Rivendell would probably choose to eat, but you pick at what is available.
Astalon
this-
kindly brings in some lambus bread.
Ah,
Always good to have.
Yes, it is. So, is anyone doing anything between breakfast and the council?
Do we know sort of where in the castle the councils are going to be held? We know we do, don't we? Because we're going to be holding his personal
Basically,
chamber.
yeah, it's in his
It's
personal
in Bara's
chambers.
personal chambers,
trap.
which is not where one holds councils. But so be it. It's almost certainly a trap, but there are levels of trap to which it can be. This is probably going to require some delicacy, and I'm a little concerned because I'm a bit out of practice being politically delicate. Still, the worst that can happen, right?
You simply
Flash
have to give
forward
the word.
to Sigrun repeatedly punching Bara.
You simply have to give the word, and myself and Theodore will come to your assistance.
Well, if the worst comes to the worst, take my bow and head for the fork in the rivers where allegedly Brand was last spotted.
Okay. So who's going into the council?
I believed it was our hobbit friend because neither myself or Theodore were willing to unarm ourselves.
I'm
You're
gonna
both
have you
just
all on the
way
map,
too
but you
old.
A
can
frying
all
pan's
be
not a
in
weapon.
different places.
Don't bring the pan.
Hey, I'll bring my pack. Got a pan in it.
It's more important that you be able to escape than you be able to fight when we're in there.
Well, I'm not bringing my bow.
Neither am I.
I will
Hey.
put you up here, and then I will put you two down here.
But I won't go anywhere without my pan.
Side.
Makes me very
Useful
sad.
for the people at home.
Because what if they want
There.
chips?
They're not going to want chips.
Oh, you've been told that before.
Yeah, but
Even
Oh,
Elrond said he didn't want chips, but really,
listen, observe, and if it all starts to get a bit hairy, escape.
We see.
Dan's disappeared. So the two Dans, Ithildir and Astanon, are outside.
Yes.
You remain outside next to Halfgrim, the captain of the guard. Ooh.
I can take these three, that's not a problem.
Oops.
He's too old, he's too young, a little bit concerned about Moustache Man, but there you go.
Hit him in the knackers.
I think everyone's back in.
Looks like his nose
Yeah,
has been
sorry about
broken a
that. Just
couple
seemed
of
to
times.
drop in
isn't
and
it?
out of
Yeah.
soon.
That's okay. No problem. Yeah. So, you're brought to the chambers. When you go outside to go to the council, you find that there's already a guard and a servant waiting there for you, and they escort you to Bara's chambers. Ithildir and Astanon, you remain outside with Halfgrim, who seems to just be quietly, with folded arms, stood by the door.
You're all warriors,
Next
you can
to the
talk
other
about
guard.
fighting and shit. Warriors love that, right?
And Sigrun and Robin Burrows, you are ushered in to Bara's chambers, where you find Bara himself, obviously, sat upon a sort of raised dais that he's had put in there, with the crown on his head. His wife next to him, Domar, his advisor, that you obviously know quite well, and then a few other of the more important people of Dale. Very much like more leaning towards people like Halfgrim, who are in charge of guard duty or the soldiery and things like that. And then the chief physician of Dale, the king's own physician.
Well, I shall
And-
offer a courtesy and a curtsy at the same time. Your Highness, cousin, great sorrow brings me back to you at this time. I wish only I'd been here sooner. And that was a highness, not a majesty, and it was on purpose.
Doesn't really seem to make much of that, but like as
But I mean,
you
technically, he's not the
approach-
king until he has the coronation, so it's still an appropriate style of address.
As you approach, he seems to glare at you almost with like that steely gaze that you saw yesterday at the funeral procession, and then he leans over to Domar and whispers something to him, and Domar replies loudly enough for you to hear. Well, I asked them to be here. Sigrun Sigrun could perhaps be of some help to you in these difficult times. And he sort of shoots him Bara shoots him a sideways glance. And then when you get close enough and start speaking, the ice in his eyes falls away a little bit, and he greets you fairly warmly, as you know, a close relative who he has not seen in quite a while, and he's still fairly young as well. Like, Bara is only about 16, 17 years of age, but he's very happy to see you and says, well, you've certainly been away on adventures long enough. I'm gladdened that you've managed to come back to us now, though I fear times around here are darker than we would hope for your return.
Aye, it seems so. A strange air about the place. Is there something I'm missing?
Bara looks at Domar, and Domar looks at Bara, and then Bara says, well, I suppose we should just get on with it. Have the whole thing out in the air, and then we'll see what can be done. And at that point, Domar presents the information to everyone, including yourselves, that they have strong evidence that Brand poisoned Bane before he left the city, and then took all of Dale's soldiers with him to go fight the Marauders in the middle of winter, and is now returning to take the city.
Behavior. Why? Why would you strip the city of its defenses in such a time? And poison, you say?
Bara immediately goes, well, it's because he wants to take it. He wants to take it all by force.
And surely he didn't need to.
Domar
All he
tries
needed
to-
to do was to wait.
Can I be kind of quietly studying facial expressions and listening to tones, trying to tell if they're lying?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can roll insight for that.
I believe them.
And they all seem very serious, like especially all the other people that are gathered there. Robin Burrows, like the other lords of Dale, seem to be taken aback by this news. And Bara and Domar themselves appear to be fairly emotional about the whole situation. So you assume they're telling the truth. They're also, you know, thus far you haven't really seen a reason why they would lie.
Well, other than to get the crown.
Yeah. But,
All Brand had to do was wait. He didn't
Domar
have to establish some huge conspiracy and steal all the
looks,
soldiers. And
says, well, Bane was still of good health up until but a few short weeks ago. So perhaps Brand, I don't know. I can't know. Can barely believe such a thing myself. But perhaps he was unwilling to wait the years it would take for him
Perhaps
to come
so.
into his own right. Then there's this these problems with talk of trade from the Shadowlands.
Problems with trade? Is this the marauders I've heard of?
The Marauders are one problem, but he looks around and makes sure the door's closed properly and everything's sealed shut. This goes no further than this room. We've, on a couple of occasions, been approached. Bane was approached by envoys of the Shadowlands about purchasing from us just sundries, mostly grain, the like, but we flat out refused, of course.
There's the Shadowlands to the north.
No, you know the ones I mean.
I see.
Indeed. There's rumour as well that they've approached Rohan and have been buying horse from them.
Not like the Rohan.
No good can come from any such things. But in any case, perhaps Brand was of a different mind. I know not. He left before any of us could talk to him. The problem now is we also have word that he is returning. And returning quickly with his host at his back.
My lords, let me ride out. Let me ride out to meet him. This is a sorry business, and under no circumstances should a battle come of this.
We'd be in very little state to offer battle, as it were. We have few enough men left in the town aside from the guard. What do you think, Bara? Should we send word to Brand? And Bara looks at Domar and says, "You know my thoughts on this matter. I should be the one to ride out to meet him, and we should settle the matter right there."
No offence, cousin, but that will only end one way.
The cold look to his eyes returns when you say that. Outside, what are Ithildir and Astanon doing? As you're stood at the door.
Can we hear any of the conversation?
You could try.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to try and do.
I mean,
What do your elf ears
I
hear?
was going to say, Asnon doesn't have the senses of an elf, so Asnon's not even going to try.
I don't have, and this elf doesn't have the senses of an elf.
You
what
do,
would be
you have the
awareness?
senses of a sad elf. Yeah, awareness.
Okey-doke.
Also, remember everyone,
that
you
what?
have rerolls.
I'll take my reroll.
Yeah.
Please. Hey, there we go.
For a moment there, I thought it was going to be another fail.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you managed to listen at the door. Just from where you're standing, sort of away from the door near Halfgrim and Astanon, you can hear the voices fairly clearly from inside and follow what is being said. So you hear that that they're accusing Brand of having poisoned the old king, and that Bara wants to ride out and duke it out with him, and that Sigrun would rather send a diplomatic envoy to see, what is happening. But also you pick up on some of the contention between everyone in the room. And you hear the word of envoys coming from the Shadowlands of Mordor, attempting to buy things.
Very troubling news. Oh, typical corruption of man.
Mark keeps talking.
It's only because I surround myself with such weakness.
You pick up yet another shadow scar as you're kind of upset at that. Oh.
Okay, I'm gonna keep that one to myself. Just because there's no way of doing anything about that at the moment.
Okay. Astanon, are you doing anything?
Waiting patiently.
Oh. As rangers are wont to do. You note that a few more guards come in to protect the room as well as the meeting goes on.
Protect the room or cause problems? Can I do a check to see their body language?
Yep.
That be insight?
Or
awareness?
You could go with awareness or awareness I think is probably the best if you're just checking.
Yep. Do they look like is their body language saying they're expecting a fight?
They look like they have been brought up in haste and are kind of looking to Halfgrim and the other guards as to what they're meant to be doing.
Oh my god, I'm such an idiot.
I'll keep an eye on them.
I just looked up my cultural blessing because I couldn't remember what it did. All my valor rolls are supposed to be favoured.
Yeah, I forgot mine with shadow tests. I get an extra dice.
No, you all deserve the shadow.
Apparently so.
I'm going to try and whisper to Sigrun though about why haven't they invited the dwarves?
As you and Sigrun are whispering, the whole debate seems to be getting a bit more heated as well. And there's a growing mood about the place. It almost hangs physically in the air. The air around you is feeling heavier, and the room seems smaller and darker. And everyone's getting a little more riled up about this whole thing and a little more worried and disheartened.
All right, I am going to pull out all the stops then. Proud, I'm willful, I'm stout-hearted, I've got the shadow law of a warden. I'm sensing that there's darkness present in this room. Something here is making this worse than it should be. I am going to try and nudge them in the direction I want them to go in. So I'm
Can
going
you
to...
both give me a... Let's see, what shall we... Wait, which one is it first? You can roll in a second. But I just want to see what effect it's having on you. Wisdom. Can you roll on wisdom?
Is this a shadow test?
Yes.
I'm going to use my reroll.
Probably a good idea. God standoff. Eh?
Oh, great success! I am going to use my my second success to make Ben
Cancel
pass.
sequence. Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
By
You
being so
both-
chipper.
And you're from my fellowship focus, so if you
Yourselves.
pull through, then I might just
Yeah.
put a hand on your shoulder and give it a little squeeze to help me calm down.
You both pick up one shadow rather than the two you would have otherwise had. But you're aware of the effects, like as you feel it washing over you, you sort of, Robin Burrows draws closer to you, Sigrun, and you both sort of feel that something is happening here that isn't entirely just to do with this discussion that's going on.
That kind of changes the
At
plan
this
a little
point,
bit, because I'm thinking
few of the
persuading's out of the
people are-
question now.
Yeah, a few of the people are actively shouting at each other, and
So
there seems to be a fair consensus that they don't want to relent to Brand, though.
Where is the darkness coming from? There must be a
Yeah.
source for it.
So that's
That's what I wanna know.
Can roll insight.
do we both get to do that?
Because
I am there trying to read the room.
Could you,
You could
support?
maybe-
Because then
yeah,
I
you
get
can support
inspiration,
if you
don't
want.
I?
yeah,
All right.
I mean, if you failed this roll with distinctive traits, support from a hobbit, shadow law.
I don't need to spend a hope point to be inspired, do I?
If you spend a hope point whilst you're inspired, you get 2 extra dice rather than 1.
Sod it then. Boom.
Oh, extraordinary success.
Yeah,
I will take
very
it.
nice. You, I will say, with the initial success, you're aware that this shadow is coming from in the room, and looking around you, everyone but Doma's advisor Farald appears to be shouting or otherwise getting more heated in this debate or growing more disheartened, whereas he's just sort of skulking towards the back of the room,
Can I try and pick his
holding
pockets?
a vase. He's too far away from where you are now. You'd have to try and move towards him.
Yeah, kind of. I'm hoping that he's far more paying attention to all the large, shouty people and not the very short hobbit.
Okay, you can do that in a second. We'll just spend
Oh.
Sigrun's 2 other successes
sorry.
first.
Okay. Oh, yeah. What can you spend extra successes on again?
So you can gain insight. You can cancel a failure. Let me bring up the list again. Cancel a failure, score an additional success, gain insight, go quietly, make haste, or widen your influence.
I would like to spend those successes on gaining more information and widening my influence.
Yeah. What do you want to gain information about?
I would like to get more information about Matey who's skulking off,
You
particularly pertaining towards sensing the shadow.
yeah.
So if it's an item
You
or if
don't
it's
really
a him.
remember Farald from when you were in the city. Domar's had a spate of advisors servants over the years, but you can't say you're fairly good at remembering them. But you can't say you've seen Farald before, and he's standing at the back holding a wine jug, waiting patiently, as it were, to serve. The shadow seems to be almost looming from the back of the room and falling like a curtain over the people in the council.
Okay.
At this point, Bara's shouting, "No, we will not treat with Brand. He can take the city over my dead body."
I'll let Roger do his thing then.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to roll for sneak then?
Sure.
Or stealth? Stealth, I imagine. But there you go. Yep, great success. So you manage to slip around the gathered people, slide along almost unseen towards him, and appear pretty much next to him.
Well, I'm trying to get behind him because I don't want him to see me.
He's standing with his back to the wall, so you can sort of get to
Okay,
either
yeah.
side of him, but you can't quite get
All right.
behind him.
That then.
I mean, you're obviously
And what do you
just
wanna do
scared of
with
all the big people
your
shouting.
extra success?
I'll go with move quietly because, again, just trying to make it
Yeah.
like he's
He
completely
defi-
unaware I'm even there.
No one in the room is aware that you've slipped away from Sigrin's side.
And then I want to basically, I'm going to go through his pockets, see if he's got something on him that could be of interest.
You find, well, you have sort of time to place your hand down one of his pockets, try and find something. He doesn't really appear to have much on him aside from this single jug that he's carrying. He appears to just be a servant, dressed as a servant, waiting to serve wine on Domar's behalf. And he doesn't really seem to have anything on him.
No, like jewelry or anything.
Even the belt around his that is holding his trousers up seems to be fairly, like, especially by Barding standards, fairly plain.
I mean, while I'm there, can I try and get a good look, see if there's any, tattoos or markings, anything like that? I'm looking
Yeah,
for things that are
sure.
unusual.
Yeah, you can roll an extra awareness test for that. Ithildir and Astanon, a couple more guards come up. And they,
Same sort of body languages as before.
yeah. All of them seem to still be not quite sure what's going on. They've been moved up in relative haste.
Okay, I'm going to use keen-eyed.
Is Ranger's next to me, isn't he?
Yeah,
Probably opposite, but yeah.
but near enough.
I see nothing.
Ithildir will lean closer and just say to him,
It just looks like a servant.
"Perhaps this would be a good opportunity for you to return my blade. You never know if we might need it."
Your blade is not here. You have your normal sword.
Shame. Yes, of course.
Phil
Thank you.
dear, roll an awareness test.
If you're getting in to try and find the sword, I'm not actively carrying the sword at this moment in time.
I have an
Wow.
extraordinary success.
in that case, it will count more as insight. Yeah, Astonon's got your blade somewhere, and a sort of that sense of
Yeah, I mean, it would be.
disconnected sense of not quite adversity between you that you felt.
I have a deep
amongst,
sense of foreboding with these guards. Perhaps
Um,
maybe you should return my blade so that I will be more effective against them.
Thildir and Astonon, the room around you feels smaller, darker, almost like it's compressing in towards the two of you as you're staring at each other, and Astonon is trying to convince Thildir that
There's no
have
convincing.
the
He doesn't
blade.
have the blade.
I know, but Astonon, it's
It's
not
not
because you
rational
say
mind.
that. And so both of you can roll wisdom as well for a shadow test.
Is it shadow? Is it like what's my
Yeah.
thing I get against shadow? I get one extra dice.
It's just one dice, right?
No.
I only have a wisdom of one. That
Oh,
can't be
then
right.
No,
yes.
in that case, yes, it is. Yes.
I feel like your sadness stems from.
I will
from
use my
the lack of-
reroll on that.
You could keep that one.
How come? Yeah, I failed. Well, hold on. I only have a wisdom one. Why did I get 2 dice?
One of
get
the dice you
D12
get
and a
anyway.
D6.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
D6 is the thing you get for the
D6
one.
is your
I've
so-
got strength of will rangers, so I've got bonuses against shadow tests.
Yeah. Astonon, you pick up 1 shadow dice as you
Boo.
sort of shadow as you feel
I am glad I am very
This-
wise.
this looming darkness and adversity grow between you that almost feels unnatural. Well, definitely feels unnatural. And if Thildir, you are not quite aware of what's happening, you pick up 2 shadow points. And
How much
You're pretty
shadow has he
sure.
got at this point?
I think you swapped one out for a scar,
No.
didn't you? Oh.
6.
You can swap them out for a shadow scar.
No.
Because I'm pretty sure
Oh my
otherwise
God.
you'll yeah.
Back to being miserable again.
Yeah.
Someone's going west.
Yeah. You've got 6 hope and 6 shadow. Just saying. Feel free to turn
Go
it into a shadow
where?
scar.
In the open air.
What the
And
guards
even-
doing in while this
Well,
darkness?
Halfgrim
is-
at this point is kind of looking at the two of you as you're having this almost quiet row in the hallway, and he's looking at his guards behind him as well, trying to work out if he's gonna need to intervene at some point. Because he's
No,
not sure why you're suddenly, but
We're tense because there are a bunch
taken
of cards
sudden
around.
dislike to you as well.
But does it look like the darkness is affecting them as well?
They look a bit more mistrustful and a bit more worried, mainly. They're mainly affected in they're somewhat more disheartened and concerned about what's going on than outright angry like the people inside the council.
I mean, Aston's just going to take a step back away from Ithildir, just to try and create a bit more of a space between them.
That way you can draw your sword more effectively.
Well, there's that, and also, but, you know,
That way you
Ithildir.
can draw an Aldor blade more effectively and cut him down.
But no, because Ithildir is Aston's friend. Well, he's my fellowship focus.
Yeah.
They've probably known each other for a long time. So this is unusual behaviour for him, even though he's an elf. But he's going to just take that step back to hopefully create a bit of space between them, so that maybe Ithildir also calms down a little bit. Just trying to make Ithildir not feel so pressured in this
Well,
situation.
see,
Though I
part
doubt
of
the
me
guards.
feels like I should just punch that geezer.
I think you should.
At this point, yeah, Farrell kind of turns to Robin Burrows and looks down at you with a piercing glare and says, "Can I help you, little master?"
Can I have a drink? I'll say, holding up a cup.
"Certainly." And he pours you a glass of wine.
Thank you very much, and I'll scurry off.
Yeah. Drink it.
No, I'm going to smell the wine. I'm trying to figure out if he's doing something. Because of my refined palate, I thought I might, pick up on any herbs or
Good shout.
things he might be
poisons.
using.
Yeah. You gonna try and do that now?
Yeah. I'll kind of have a cautious sniff.
Craft, shall we say?
Yeah.
I would have said
We've
craft
got
or
it.
healing, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my rolling.
Can I donate my reroll to him? Okay.
No, it just seems like
I'm-
wine.
I will bring it back to Sigrun.
And at this point, they're actively shouting. Bara just shouts, "Look, I've had enough. Begone, all of you from your sight, from my sight. Just get out." And the servant starts swinging the doors open, and everyone has been being ushered out.
Excellent. I will bring the wine with me. Or wine.
As you're being ushered out, Farrell walks over to Domar and whispers something to him. And Domar briefly converses with Bara. When you get outside, Ithilda
I might
and
stop
Astanon are
at the
there.
door.
Yeah,
Let the others all bluster their way out and stop at the door
yeah.
and turn back to him again. And I am going to try it in Hearten.
Go on.
I'm going to try it in
You've got a
Hearten.
re-roll.
I have got a reroll. So I am going to try
How are you
and
trying to enhearten them?
I will turn back to him and I will say, in a time like this, it is not seemly for family to be at odds. Please, cousin, let me do what I can to resolve this for you. I give him a couple of different ways of interpreting that.
Yeah.
Am I offering to make peace? Am I offering to assassinate his brother?
Okay.
Boom.
Gandalf for the win. His scowl breaks for a moment, and you see Domar kind of nod slowly at you from Bara's side. Bara, scowl broken, rubs his chin and says, "Perhaps you are right, cousin. I'll send for you later. Perhaps we can still avoid this turning into violence." And when you're ushered out, those guards that had been hastily pulled up are sort of already standing in a row along both sides, and they escort everyone from the chambers back to their rooms.
I got this wine from that dodgy-looking feller in there. Do you want to give it a sniff, see if you can spot any weird additions to the drink? because he seemed to be the only one that wasn't going mad.
Can I use healing on this one to see if I can smell any sort of herbs or that I would
Yeah,
use in?
yeah. Or-
Do not drink the wine.
Success.
For the most part, it seems just like a fairly nice vintage of wine. Except there's a hint, ever so slight, of something sour or brackish, more so than should be in the wine, that gets caught in your throat for a split second. And you're not sure what herbal plant it is, but something has been added to this wine.
Something's been added to the wine.
Aye.
I can smell it.
That servant is not a servant of this place. He is a servant of Shadow.
Yes, I too felt the shadow.
He commands.
Perhaps we should have a word with this servant.
He's
Or perhaps if we can find out where he lives, I might be able to have a nosy round his
by
hidey
now,
hole.
he will already have spoken poison in the ears of Domar and Barra in turn. He's quite clever. The way he's
Well-
doing it, he's not poisoning Barra's mind himself. He's poisoning the mind of his allies and associates.
Well, what if this chap were to have a bit of an accident, shall we say? You know, people hurt themselves all the time doing things like combing their hair. His head might just come off.
I wonder if that's our best opportunity. Yes,
I'll say, looking at the elf.
dealing with him would indeed potentially solve the problem, but if it's more widespread than one person, we might have more on our hands than we can deal with. I avoided running across the room and punching the bastard in the face in the council for that very reason.
He didn't have anything in his pockets, unfortunately. I was hoping to find
The-
something,
the-
but
The king was slain by poison, and we have a poisoner. It is not a great reach to think that perhaps there could be a connection.
I mean, is there someone in the city that would know a bit more about these sorts of things? We might be able to take the wine to him and...
Ordinarily, yes, but right now I imagine they're all down in Lake Town because everybody's left. Nobody wants to be near this place.
All right, I'm gonna basically get a clean bottle, pour the wine into it, and stopper it. So I've got it sealed for...
Okay.
I think we need to have a word with him.
I think we need to have a nosy round his hidey hole.
I think that might be a better idea than actually confronting him. Because right now, we don't know who he has
He will be most likely in the starving quarters here, will he not?
and surrounded by people.
You might be able to make a good distraction, though, Sigrun, surely.
Absolutely. I can't imagine that he'll let my meeting with my cousin go uninterfered with later.
Well, perhaps while that's going on,
That would be a good opportunity for you to have a little nosy around his place.
although I wouldn't mind someone else lingering around nearby in case it all goes a bit south.
Astanon, have you got that lembas bread handy?
Do indeed.
Don't eat anything or drink anything.
Okay.
His first instinct will be to do away with the problem.
Well, I've got a lot of supplies of food if people need it.
No, because we also need to make it look like we are eating and drinking normally. So we nibble on a bit of lembas bread, but our supplies aren't touched. And we dispose of anything they give us. I'm assuming that we're alone enough in this place that we're not being
Yeah, you've
spied on.
been given lodgings. Like, it's basically... It's kind of like a suite for members of the royal household that are visiting or when they live there, and you've got a central room with a big table to eat, a nice cozy place around the fireplace, and then you have your individual bedrooms off to the side each time. There's like a room off to the side, and then an exit out back into Dale. As to whether you're being spied on, who knows?
Can we make an awareness check?
You can.
Us? Paranoid?
Great success.
Yeah. Wow.
Also a great success.
Both of you are acutely aware that whilst you find no one really spying on you, whilst you're looking around looking for spies, and sort of also peeking out to see who's waiting around in the shadows outside, you realise there's actually 3 guards on your door now. And you've seen Halfgrim doing rounds about the royal lodgings. And as far as you can tell, there are guards on all of the doors.
Astonon's going to test something and attempt to walk out of this lodging area.
You're stopped by one of the guards, and he says, I'm deeply sorry, sir. We cannot... Well, it's the king's orders. No one's to leave at the moment until the current situation has been resolved. The king will call for you shortly. I'm afraid we'll have to ask you to remain in your lodgings.
Stab him.
Aston gives a curt smile, knowing full well that if Aston wanted to, he could easily leave. But he's just going to step back into the room. He was just doing it to test.
Yeah, if we have to leave, we have to leave. But
at this point, there's like 8 or 9 guards.
Come on, we can take
those poor bastards.
This courtyard at various doors. There's
come on,
3
we can
on
take
your
them.
door.
What has happened to you, Etheldir? He's a miserable murder elf.
All right, now that we've established that, then
When you get to Valinor,
gonna
you're
go all
just going
into
to
this.
start swinging like, oh no.
I went into the west and there's no elf left.
Astanon, perhaps you and Mr. Burrows could both take a walk later.
As in a walk that's not seen, I assume.
I shall look pointedly towards the window.
I make sure that I see the window too, and I'd make sure that I can get out of that window.
Yeah, it's a fairly sizable window, but
It's more how
sort
high
of-
up are we?
well, that's the thing. You're sort of in the royal area, so you're higher up in like
We've got
not as
rope.
high as the bell towers, but it's high enough that they would assume they don't need to guard the windows. So you'll have to find a way to climb down. But if you could, there's probably no one watching as far as you've seen when you were looking for spies.
Well, we've got rope, so surely we could just tie that to summit and go down.
Yes, potentially. But I do not see the use in leaving you two alone
Well,
without knowing where we're going.
if I'm going to be the distraction, I might as well be distracting. Ithildir,
Although we don't know where this fella's quarters are, do we?
Precisely.
Ithildir, are you with us? You seem
course.
distracted.
I just feel
Isildir, you're kind of brightened by the idea that Aston might be
Yeah.
going out for a walk.
Would Sigrun have an idea of where
Just throw that.
such a servant would be quartered?
Probably.
Yeah, Sigrun has the knowledge of someone who grew up in the court of where everything is. So if your intention is to look for Farrell in the servants' quarters or the servants' area,
And they don't want to
Sigrun
find
could
him, they want to
probably-
find his quarters.
yeah, could probably draw you a fairly good map of where you'd need to go.
See, what I'm thinking is if the two of you go and investigate as best you can, if Ildir stands ready to leave if things get hairy and carry my stuff, I'll meet you outside of town.
We're not leaving you here alone. Don't be foolish.
You won't be leaving me alone. There's only so much he can do to me here in front of the people.
You say that, but there's something in that wine.
Indeed there was, and they will have to walk a balancing act. The rest of you are not quite so protected as I, and I would not see you come to harm in my home.
Again, I worry for you, Zigrin. He's willing to fight and kill his own brother, and you are but a cousin. It's estranged at this point.
Is it light or dark at the moment?
It's still that gloomy mist, and it has been all day.
I'm just saying, if we have to get out of town and get to
comes
Brand,
from the rooms.
The servants' quarters, are there like any windows going in, facing into them?
Yeah, there'll be ways you can get in unseen.
All right, I'm
Hopefully.
already looking for somewhere I can tie a rope to.
Yeah. What you have is a very large, long dining table that you ate on that could probably, big solid wood, could probably hold the weight of a hobbit and a ranger of the north climbing down a rope.
I'm more concerned about these guards and what they're going to think when they turn around in the room and there's only two people in there.
Wait a minute. They're having a nap.
Is it-
That'll
What's that
depend
rope-
on what
What's that rope
secret
tied
that-
to the table then?
Yeah, I mean,
don't do it out here. Do it in one of the bedrooms.
it's fine. I mean, we'll put pillows and packs and things in the beds, make it look like there's someone in there.
Yeah, because that fools everyone.
If it'll fool the
Yeah.
Nazgul,
If-
it'll fool
if
some
it'll
guards.
fool- Yeah,
full of
precisely.
embrace,
Exactly. Plus, it
Yeah.
might fool them at a glance if they just kind of open the door and go. "Ooh." Close inspection, no, but possibly a glance.
So be it. Let us move then, Master Burrows.
I was going to go have a look around, see if I can figure out which one his room is, and then
Yeah,
we'll go
okay.
out again later on when
First,
Vigran's distracting the bugger.
you can both give me an athletics. Or
Can someone
similar
kind of lower the
test.
rope down so I can just hold on? Otherwise,
Astanon, you could do that. Then you can roll 2 athletics tests, one to lower the rope, one to
Oh,
climb
that's
down
always,
yourself.
thank goodness for that.
Yeah. So
Hey!
both Robin Burrows and yourself manage to get down safely. What do you want to do with the extra success? You could go quietly.
Move, go quietly.
Yeah.
That seems to be our purpose at this moment
Yeah.
in time.
You leave the room without the guards even turning once at the door and wondering what's up. So quietly do you drop down into the city below that there's only one person near you on the street, an old lady washing some clothes, and she almost starts out of her skin as you suddenly wander past because she didn't hear you coming
Was that?
down the street, or
Must have been the wind.
yeah, or descending from a window above. So you have successfully left the
it'll be
chambers.
so it'll be heading towards the servants' quarters and
Yeah,
follow the
Following
meeting. I'm
Sigrid's
actually
map.
going to be trying to, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And we're going to be trying to figure out, by looking through windows, which one is the guy's room, and then return to.
Astalon's secretly keeping an eye out for the guy himself.
yeah. Okay. Well, Astanon, can you give me an awareness test? See if you spot him.
I mean, if he falls on something sharp, like about 4 feet of
Robin.
steel.
Gandalf loves me tonight, apparently.
Can you give me a scan roll for the map? Gandalf does indeed love you all. Damn, that old wizard. Really should tie him to the top of a tower and like beat him up with an old man's stick or something. Yeah.
Not far off that, is it?
No, not really. Okay. All of it's getting closer. As far as I know, we're 3007 now is, I think, the last time he visits Frodo in the Shire for like 10 years. Goes, oh, by the way, probably a magic ring. Don't touch it. Bye.
I'm off to go and sit in the library for 10 years.
And Frodo's just sort of left there. Going,
I mean,
oh no.
Gandalf must have a record of hobbits he knows with magic rings.
Yeah, probably. There's just a long list.
Oh,
There's
it's
at
the
least
one
40
ring.
of
Hold
them.
on.
One of
Let me
those
check my list.
rotating
Yeah.
note card
A Rolodex,
things.
yeah.
Rolodex.
Rolodex. Well, what ring do we need for this? Yeah. No. So, yeah. Astanon, you spot Farrell at a distance, moving from the servants' quarters back towards the royal court. So he seems to be heading
How far off are we talking?
sort of, yeah, like, basically, at this point, you're in, if you have one of those central court kind of areas with, like, a square building around it, if you get my meaning, you're in the one corridor going the one way, and across the court you see him in the windows going the opposite direction.
I guess the reason I asked the question is, could I close him down before he manages to get away?
Can you what?
Can I close him down before he manages to get away?
He wants to shank him.
You could try and intercept him.
Did he
he see-
roll for that?
You
Bows.
actively gonna chase him? Right, let me
I mean,
just-
there's a lot of guards around. I'd try and do it
Is
slightly more
there a lot of
cautiously.
guards around down here? I don't think there is. I think they're rather limited on guards at the moment, aren't they?
There's guards about, but not as many as were around you and around the actual court area.
I'm gonna go with because I am swift, so I will go with being swift, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to catch him, but I'm gonna try and get an extra success, hopefully, and so I can move quietly at the same time. So let's
Yeah.
roll athletics and see, and see how this goes. Believe. Yes, yes. So I will use an extra success to go quietly. Go swiftly. And yes, so I'm going to come up behind him, and as he's kind of walking, he's going to feel the tang of steel on his neck.
Yeah. Can you give me another wisdom roll?
Ooh. That I can. Come on, wisdom, don't... Ah!
Wow.
I'm going to use that extra success to say, go away, Shadow.
You could use one to gain insight.
I'm going to gain some insight, yeah. And what do I want to gain? I'm basically going to question him now in the most intimidating fashion. Who do you serve? I know it's the Shadow. And he's pinned up against the wall with a blade at his neck. And you see it in the movies where they push it just that little bit harder so that little trickle of blood runs down.
As you
It just
have
sense a
an
theme
against
with you, Dan.
the wall, and you push the blade towards his neck, and you say that, he says, "Why, I serve Bara, son of Bane, of course, the rightful king of Dale." And he looks at you, and because of your extraordinary successes, you're also very aware of the multitude of guards that are now coming up behind you.
I'm not bothered by guards. You
Um,
don't serve him, creature of shadow.
Well, there's a lot of distraction. I'm going to go and route round the bloke's room.
Yeah, with your scan test, you found the room fairly easy. Can you give me a riddle test, though, before you go in the room? And
Oh no, he's got two
Aston.
doors. One of them always lies and one of them always tells the truth.
A success.
yeah, you're just about to sort of. How are you going to go in? Through the window? Through the door?
Through the window. I'm trying to go in unseen.
You just about to push it open when something in your hobbit gut warns you that something isn't right. You look at the window and you feel like a chill breeze coming from the opposite direction, from inside the window, and you draw your hand away at the last moment.
All right, I'll try and go to the door. So I'd imagine there's a
I'll
lot of
say
people
on
looking
the
at
same
the...
roll. Yeah, same feeling now that you're aware of it. There is something warding his door, well, barring you entry at the moment.
Do I reckon I could figure out a way around it?
You probably could, given time. It doesn't feel like it's something natural. It's, again, you feel a sense of sorcery. But if you could find where it was coming from, you could probably find a way to get in. Astanon, there's about 6 guards around you, and Farrell cries to them, "Help! This man is assaulting me." And they look at you and look at Farrell and go, "Remove your hands from Dormer's, or remove your sword from Dormer's neck." And you realise whatever sorcery didn't work on you, perhaps
on
did on them.
Well, yeah, I'm going to continue. So I'm going to do the classic thing now. I'm going to roll him round and be behind him now with the blade still at his throat. And I'm going to whisper in his ear, "I am Astanon, Ranger of the North, Shadow Warden. There is no way you walk out of here to live today. Tell your men to back away."
"These are not my men, Ranger of the North. These are King Bara's men, and only he can order them."
Can I use my...
With that, I think we'll also close it off here for the evening, with Astanon holding Farrell hostage with a knife or sword to his neck, surrounded by guards, and Robin Burrows attempting to break into the room and disable whatever wards are barring entrance.
No pressure.
Sigrund and Ithildir, as we're zooming out of Dale, you hear a heavy banging at the door. And from the front window, you can see that there's about 6 or 7 guards out the front as well, and one of them's hammering on the door.
The elf smiles to himself and pulls his sword.
Before we get to next week, I would like to point out killing innocent people will get you shadow.
It's all right. Dan's getting a bit of a collection going on.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Dan, you can get rid of shadow. You don't have to. You don't have to go down.
I'm clearly on the path to corruption here.
Oh. Okay.
Well, I was going to try and wave him down and answer the door, but
Yeah, you could try.
We've
If-
got
if you could-
all of a week
if
to
you
figure
could
it out.
stand in front of
Because
the
I haven't had a
deer
time
enough.
to put my kit on, so I'm still princessed up. So I'm going to be utterly useless in a scrap right now.
I mean, they're guards of Dale. Like,
It's true,
I
but
feel
also,
like
you know, they're
you
guards of
can,
Dale. I'd rather not murderize
yeah,
what could potentially be my guards.
just do an Aragorn and sort of smack him in the gut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I've
was
not got a
planning on
problem.
opening the door, and you know, if they're going to arrest someone, they can arrest me, and they're going to get princess in the face.
Oh,
No, they're going to get the what is the meaning of this? Full princess behavior,
and then the princess. in
and
the
then a
face.
princess in the face. Yeah,
Okay.
fine. That's what
Yeah.
Roger's there for. He can break me out of prison
Yeah.
because they've lost him.
Yeah.
He needed a distraction. He's got one.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's
Got
got
two.
several.
three.
Depending on whether Ifildir just starts running off into the city murdering people, they might have several distractions going on at once.
It's a
I mean,
rescue
that should
mission.
give-
He needs to. No,
I'm-
it's a rescue. He needs to go rescue his sword.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that should give me a lot of auto successes on stealth if everyone's looking at the massacre.
Definitely, yeah. After the Ballad of Bardings, it'll be the fall of Ifildir.
Isn't the Ballad of Bardings about the fall of Isildur?
Yeah.
It's,
It's the corruption of Isildur.
Yeah.
right. Well,
Thank you very much.
thank you, everyone. Thank you at home for watching. And, yeah, thank you to my wonderful players for being here and playing and creating such marvellous characters. We are Garblag Games. We'll be back next week Thursday with the One Ring, probably. What else is going on in Garblag at the moment?
So
One day I'm going to
Coriolis.
look it up beforehand.
next Tuesday, I believe, is Coriolis.
Yes.
Followed by next Wednesday is Death Watch,
Yes.
where there will be a lot of Marines doing very silly things because we can't roll.
I got my brain was boggled by the end of last night.
Have you tried using? Are you using the old like Dark Heresy style rule? Well, you know,
Yeah.
Have you
old
tried
Death Watch
throwing
The-
a bolt at them rather than shooting it?
I mean, it won't make a difference if we can't roll below 90.
Oh, okay then. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, I mean, actually, last night, every single roll I made, I failed first time. I had to use re-rolls or fate points to get more re-rolls.
Ouch.
Jesus.
Thank you, an anomaly.
Yeah.
I think we had about 6 or 7 critical fails that we had to re-roll.
It was a bad night.
Yeah.
So come back next Wednesday to watch
It's
us for that.
just- yeah, but it's a harsh system. It was one of the first ones we played with our local group, and I think second game someone lost an arm. Yeah.
Oh, like that one time when Dan rolled a 66 in Alien, and he was so pleased with himself that he'd rolled such a good roll, and then we had to tell him that meant he'd insta-died.
I remember that. That was his first character in Alien, wasn't it? Didn't you lose
Yep.
like 3 characters in that one, Dan? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But who holds the record for most alien deaths at the moment? Is it you or Ben?
Definitely made it to character 3 in that campaign.
I think we might be tied then, because I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
I
I've only
can
ever
be
made it to 3.
Yeah.
So we need another alien
So,
campaign
yeah,
to find out
yeah,
which one of
the
you two is going to die the most.
Tiebreaker.
All right,
Right.
good people. We
Well.
will see you at the same bat time, same bat channel.
Right. Bye for now.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.